My name is Lindsay, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to a way to interact and communicate with your WIC participants, one that you and your participants will likely find very beneficial. It's called Participant-Centered Education, or PCE for short. Participant-Centered Education will help the WIC program's goal of improving our participants' health. This approach focuses on helping the participant identify concerns they think are important in order to make the changes they want to make. The benefit to you, the WIC counselor, is that this process feels more positive and it shifts the responsibility for changing behaviors from you to your participant. PCE will take the pressure off you to fix it. We know time is a major concern for WIC counselors, and we believe participant-centered education will help you make the most of your time with your participants and get better results. I'd like to acknowledge that you are probably already doing some, if not many, of these things well. As you go through these activities, note what some of these things are. Also note what you find surprising. This program is designed to reinforce what you are already doing well and may also give you some ideas for things you might build on or consider doing differently. You might want to look at the program like a toolbox. You may already have some of the tools in your toolbox. You may find some new ones. You may think some don't work for you personally and decide not to use them. Ultimately, we hope this program gives you some new tools to help you be successful. There are 9 short modules. The modules are typically 15 to 20 minutes in length. Module 4 is longer. At the end of the modules, it will be up to you and your training supervisor to decide how to use these ideas and which pieces to start incorporating into your visits with WIC participants. In essence, participant-centered education is caring. It's collaborative. We're working together with our participants. It's accepting. It encourages honesty and allows differences of opinion. It's respectful. It allows the individual to decide what path to take. It's individualized. It helps the participant address what is important to them. It's non-judgmental. It does not allow judgments to play a part in offering nutrition education. It's genuine. It is always given from the heart. It's empathetic and real. We'd like you to watch a short video as an introduction to this training. It's an example of a certification using participant-centered education. We'll refer back to this example throughout our training. Here we'll meet a WIC participant, Jennifer Hernandez. She is a busy, stressed breastfeeding mom coming to WIC 1 month postpartum. She's getting ready to go back to work, worried about how she will manage continuing to breastfeed. We'll be following her story throughout this training.
Thanks so much for coming in today. I'm Rose Corral, a counselor here. It's very nice to meet you, Jennifer. How are you today?
I'm all right. It's been a crazy morning.
Well, I appreciate your getting here on time, even with the craziness this morning. Just to let you know, our appointment should only take about 20 minutes today. It looks like we already have your heights and weights, so I'll just take a minute to enter those into the computer. After that, I have some questions I'd like to go over with you. Before we start, what are some questions you have for me, or what would you like to really make sure we talk about today?
I have some questions about pumping.
Oh, thank you so much for bringing that up. I'm going to make a note of that, so we'll be sure to cover pumping before you leave today. As other things come up, I'll jot them down so I won't forget. Is that okay?
Fine.
Okay, well, we haven't seen you since you had the baby. Tell me a little about how the birth went.
Oh, it was fine after I got my epidural. It was a lot easier than the first time.
Then you had a vaginal delivery?
Yes.
And how have you been feeling since?
I've been tired, but not sick. I'm still taking my prenatal vitamins, so that must be helping.
Sounds like you're taking good care of yourself. What other medicines are you taking?
I'm not taking anything else.
Getting back to feeling tired, that's pretty common with a new baby. Who's around at home to help you out?
Well, my husband's gone back to work now, but my sister-in-law helps out a lot.
Oh, how nice that you have family to give you that support. And how's your new little one doing? Oh, she's beautiful.
She's great. She came a little earlier than we were expecting, but she seems to be doing really well.
Oh, so she came a little early. Tell me more about that.
I ended up delivering her at 39 weeks, but she still weighed 8 pounds, and she's really healthy. She just saw her doctor for her 2-week checkup, and he said everything was fine. I was afraid I wouldn't have enough milk to feed her, but that doesn't seem to be an issue.
Wow, I'm glad that she's doing so well and that you're breastfeeding. That's so nice. And how's breastfeeding going?
It's going, but I'm not sure if I can keep it up.
Oh, what makes you say that?
Sometimes I feel like quitting and giving her formula, even though I know breast milk is best for her.
I appreciate your honesty. It sounds like you're not sure what to do, and yet you recognize that breastfeeding is best for her. What's making you think you might want to quit?
Well, I think I could keep it up for now. I'm just concerned about how it'll work once I go back to my job.
So you're wondering about this transition. It's great that you're already thinking about what might come up. What are your thoughts about balancing breastfeeding and going back to work?
Well, I do have some concerns about breastfeeding once I go back to work, like when I should start pumping to build a supply, and how long my breast milk would be good for. Things like that.
Yeah, these are all details to think about. If you'd like, we can spend some time going over these details together today. Would it be okay if I asked the rest of the questions I need to ask you, and then we could spend some time talking about this?
That's fine, as long as we don't go over the 20 minutes. I need to get back home.
Sounds good. These are some of the mandatory questions that I have to ask everyone, so just bear with me while we go through these. During your pregnancy, you told us that you weren't smoking or using drugs or alcohol. What, if anything, has changed along those lines?
Nothing. I don't smoke or drink.
That's wonderful. And does anyone in your household smoke inside your home?
No, we're really strict about that.
You're making good choices for you and your children. And how has your appetite been?
I'm always hungry.
What kinds of things are you craving in particular?
I just eat whatever's handy.
Are there any foods you're avoiding right now?
Nope. If it's around, I'll eat it.
Okay. And what beverages are you drinking?
I drink lots of water and some milk and juice, but mostly water.
Sounds like you're doing a great job of keeping yourself hydrated. Now, this next question is one I need to ask everyone just to check in with you about your safety. Has anyone pushed, hit, kicked, or physically hurt you or the baby?
No, everything's fine.
Seems like other than being a little bit tired and having some concerns about pumping when you go back to work, that you're doing really well.
Yeah.
And how are you feeling about how she's eating and growing?
It seems like she wants to nurse all the time, and she seems a little bit smaller than some of my friends' babies.
You're a little worried about her size. Well, would you like to look at the growth grids we have for her so you can see how she compares with other babies her age?
Yeah, I definitely want to see how she's doing.
Okay. So today, her grid is showing that in a group of 100 girls her age, 75 would be longer than she is. And in that same group of girls, about 50 would weigh more. When we compare her length with her weight, you can see she comes out right in the middle. How does that compare with what you heard at the doctor?
Sounds pretty much like what he told me. I guess she's growing well, but she cries a lot, and I wonder if I should give her a little formula.
You're wondering if she's getting enough to eat.
Yeah, but I guess I feel better now knowing that she's growing all right. But I feel bad when she cries, and I worry that my breast milk isn't enough for her now, let alone when I go back to work.
How many times is she feeding each day?
My gosh, at least every 2 hours, and sometimes it feels like every hour.
And how does she let you know that she's ready to eat or that she's all done?
She makes these smacking sounds, and she sucks on her fist when she's hungry.
Aww.
Sometimes she cries like crazy, like she's starving.
So most of the time, it sounds like you can tell she's hungry before she starts to cry. What do you think might be happening when she does cry like that?
Well, maybe I'm just waiting too long between feedings.
I have definitely heard from some other moms that feeding more regularly can help with that. And I'm sure you enjoy that special time together.
Yeah, I'm really going to miss our time together once I go back to work.
So you're really close to your baby and you are going to miss that time. Tell me a little more about the job you're going back to and when that might happen.
I work at one of the stores in the mall. My days and hours really vary. My boss has been really supportive of me while I was pregnant, and she's looking forward to me coming back in another month or so.
So is your boss supportive of you pumping at work?
I'm pretty sure she is.
Great. And what spots are available for you to pump while still having some privacy?
I should be able to use the back room, and there's a mini fridge to store the milk in after I pump it, so I should be okay.
It sounds like you've already been thinking about this and your workplace should be supportive. What other concerns do you have about making pumping work for you?
I'm just not sure if I should start pumping now so that I have enough stored, and I'm also concerned that she won't take the bottle.
Well, if you're interested, I have a handout that talks about pumping and storing breast milk. Would you like to take a minute to go over this together?
Sure.
So as you'll see, there are some tips about how to pump, and on this side is information about storage. Since our time is limited today, would you like to take this info with you and read through it?
Sure.
There is a class next month about pumping that will go into this in greater detail. Would you like me to sign you up for that?
Yeah, that would be okay.
Okay. The other thing you mentioned was a concern about her not wanting to take the bottle. I'm wondering about how you handled this with your older child.
I stayed home for almost a year the first time, and at that point she was already onto the cup, so that wasn't an issue.
I see. If you'd like, I can share some tips that I've heard from other moms.
Sure.
Some moms find that it's easier for someone else in the family to introduce the bottle to the baby at first, since baby associates you with breastfeeding. Other moms have told me that they introduce the bottle after they've breastfed, since the baby's not so hungry. How does that sound to you?
Those are great ideas for introducing the bottle, but now that I think about it, maybe I can ask my sister-in-law to bring her by work so I could breastfeed there.
What a great idea! Do you think that's something she would agree to?
Oh yeah, she loves coming to the mall.
So if you could, how long would you like to keep breastfeeding her?
Well, I went over a year the first time, and I'd like to do that again, even with me going back to work.
Sounds like you have a pretty good plan here. What are some of the next steps you can take to make sure that it all comes together for you before you go back to work?
Well, I definitely need to speak to my sister-in-law, and I need to get a pump from you guys.
Well, if you can make it to the pumping options class, they'll help you select a pump that's right for your needs, and they'll go over any questions you might have, including the storage options. Let me just take a minute to enter this in the computer so that the next time we see you, we can check in and see how that's going. So to wrap up, we've talked today about how you're both doing, and although you were initially concerned about her being smaller than some of your friends' babies, looking at the growth grids, you're now feeling better about how she's growing. The main thing we talked about was how you can continue breastfeeding once you go back to work. Sounds like you'd really like to breastfeed her for a year like you did with your first one, and you have a good plan for making that happen. Some days your sister-in-law will bring you the baby to breastfeed, and other days you're going to be able to pump in the back room and store your milk in the mini fridge at work. Did I get it all?
Yeah, that's good.
To help you and your baby meet your breastfeeding goal, I am certifying you both on WIC until baby turns a year old. You'll be able to stay on a year as long as you continue breastfeeding, and I can tell from the plan you've made that that's going to happen. Before we finish, is there anything else I can help you with?
No, I think we covered everything.
Well, thanks very much for coming in today. You're doing a fantastic job breastfeeding, and I'm sure you'll be able to keep it going. If you do have any other questions or concerns, please give us a call because we'd be happy to help. And maybe I'll see you if you come back for the pumping options class.
Great.
So when you go back out front, they'll call your name once they print your vouchers. I saw in the computer you were already changed to the fully breastfeeding package, so you'll be getting some extra foods as well. What questions do you have about using the WIC vouchers?
Oh, I've pretty much got shopping down at this point.
Super. Well, listen, have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you next month.
Okay.
Can I get that?
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.